Napoleon had Waterloo, the Titanic had the iceberg, and a certain German phenom, he has the pit stop. The old guard remains in command, but most observers see the writing on the wall and the graffiti spells change. Sanctioned by the Absolute Beginner League, Formula Neagle comes to Spa-Francorchamps, and you can see all the Round 3 action live as it happens here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hello, and welcome to another GSRC broadcast and the countdown to green. As cyberspace flows into your place over these 15 streaming award-worthy minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to fully appreciate the 60 minutes of simulated Formula Renault 2.0 racing that follows immediately as we count down to green for round 3 of Formula Neagle's 14th season. And here to do all of that is yours truly, Bill Soup Zahn, joined way up in the press box to bring you our bird's eye view by the man more commonly known as Ashes, none other than Joseph Ringrose. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders on his beastly streaming machine, our director, Sean Ambrose. At his disposals, cameras located, aimed, zoomed, and focused by the Ansel Adams of iRacing, GSRC's own Dougie Beard. After many seasons in the Skippy for Season 14, series organizers decided to make the switch to the Formula Renault. Only 2 races into the season, and the multi-time champion Errol Num sits in his familiar position atop the standings. But while the racing on the track has been spectacular, the real drama has come on pit lane, where poor pit stops have stolen not 1, but 2 victories from the rookie Claudius Veed. If the German has learned his lesson, he'll have to demonstrate his newfound knowledge. Joseph, on a very popular iRacing destination, Spa.
Very popular indeed, not just in iRacing, but in the world. Designed way back in 1920, laid out on public roads. The original course of 25 turns, 14.9 kilometers long. After World War II, the track was shortened, but remained the fastest road circuit in Europe and had a nasty reputation for being very, very dangerous. Way back in 1981, safety concerns forced the track to be shortened again, cutting 7 kilometres out of the old layout. The model layout we have been racing today has been around since 2007, so 11 years ago. 7 kilometres, 20 turns, or 4.3 miles, depends how you look at it. But the best way to get an idea of what this place is really like is it's time to jump on board with the Formula Renault 2.0 and take a lap of Spa-Francorchamps.
Alright, we've got Amjad Yammer to the GSRC Formula Renault 2.0, so let's do a lap around Spa. Coming down to La Source, this is likely to be a good overtaking spot. Watch out for the over-under though, because a corner this sharp really lends itself to overshooting the turn and compromising your exit. As you head down the hill past the old pits, bring the car off the right to set up for Eau Rouge. Even in these high downforce cars, you'll want to get single file because going too wide will slow both of you down tremendously. Straighten it out as much as you can to help carry your momentum over the top of the hill, and then from here, it's a drafting game all the way to Lacombe. Expect anyone relatively close to you to be able to suck up and probably slingshot past down the Kemmel Straight. It'll make your battles a lot more strategic and track position not nearly as important. Also, you can outbrake your opponents into Lacombe, so the fight isn't over once you reach the chicane. You can even defend from the outside if you're wily. From there, hold to the left to get a better run through Malmedy. The short blaster Ravage also opens itself up to surprise attacks. Just be wary into the downhill braking into this 180-degree bend. It's easy to understeer wide all through the corner. Switch sides quick and sells the car for no-name corner. Just a little lift will get you through, and then we head downhill towards Pouan. The entry to this double apexer is very quick, which makes it tough to be accurate. Thankfully, the paved runoff on the outside means you'll have an easier time recovering if you go a bit wide. Keep your foot in it on the second half, get back to the left, and spot your brake marker for Fanyes. It's a medium-speed chicane, so passing opportunities are few unless you get a huge run on the car ahead. Stay tucked to the right on the first half, and then let her fly around the second apex. The straight to Stavelo was a short one, so get back to the racing line quick. The first bend is the slower one, and honestly pretty critical to your lap time since you won't need the lift at the second bend. The long backstretch will certainly punish anyone who hesitates to get to the power, leaving the cars behind ample opportunity to breeze by. Just like the Kemmel Straight, strategic draft battles tend to erupt on the lower portion of the circuit. The run through Blanchiment is much easier in the Renault than you'd find in GT cars, and you'll stay flat-footed easily. Coming out of the corner, watch out for attack coming down to the bus stop. This is another spot where passes are popular, but this chicane can also create havoc occasionally. Tuck it into the apexes, but keep it off the giant sausage curbs because they send the car all out of whack. Make sure you nail the exit to keep yourself safe from lunges into La Source, and as you cross the line, you've now finished a lap around Spa.
Joe Peak taking and talking us around Spa. You know, find yourself a good spot near the bus stop. That is, in my opinion, will be the action corner on this track. Now, let's talk about the action that is going on in the point standings. So far in the countdown to green, we've talked a lot about Errol Num and Claudius Veed, who sit 1-2 on the chart, but little attention has been given to last round's winner, Patrick Fliss, who sits in 4th. The Slovene machine has 12 career Formula Neagle starts, winning half. That's right, winning half. Fliss was absent for round 1, and there are no dropped rounds in this series. So any championship hopes are going to come at the price of misfortune for those he is chasing in the points. How about Diego Francisco? Is not racing under the radar anymore. The TT Racing Red Star has been good for a while, and only 8 points back, he is still very much a threat for the crown. Welcome to the Top 5 Graphics, Sweden's Alex Jansson. It's hard for me not to laugh out loud when I read the team name, Gap SRT, reddish and blue-like. Bless the guys at Gap SRT for at least trying to be creative when it comes to distinguishing between the associated teams. All right, we won't go into quite as much detail when it comes to the Formula 2 driver standings, but I can talk about, look, we have a pair of American privateers sitting in 1st and 4th. Veteran Eric Lukal holds 2nd position. The name Wojciech Podolczak is familiar to longtime fans of the ABL. GSRC will have to research to see if Michael Podolczak is in 3rd, is any relations. And then how about Sweden's Daniel Solo as he rounds out the overlay. Let's go look now at the team championship. And that should be indeed more of a team championship than just one driver. So it's nice to see Diego Francisco and Pierce Cockey working together to put TT Racing Red in a tie for the lead. Bushfink Pink is the other team on top solely on the merits of its only teammate, Errol Num. Same situation for TT Racing Yellow as Claudius Veed is doing all the peddling there. The familiar duo of Michel Rogenbrink and Johan Vanderveld have C-Bottom Racing in 4th. 2 teams are tied for 5th. The aforementioned Gap SRT reddish and blue-like and TT Racing Silver. All right, Joseph, we've talked about the track. We've gone over the points. How about we take a look at the event details?
Yep, as mentioned before, Season 14 of the ABL League. Round 3 of 7. And again, as mentioned before, no drop rounds. So every point counts. And if you claim that retirement today, it's going to hurt your championship chances. 60 minutes round this circuit, completely open setups with a maximum of 30% fuel, so the fuel tank is limited, which will force the drivers to make 2 stops. And there is an incident cap when they hit 24 incident points, so drivers got to watch out for that, especially with the track limits around here, Soup.
Series organizer Johan Vanderbilt, the fan belt, we're fortunate enough to have him do some commentary here on GSRC as well. We were talking off mic during the MX5 World Tour broadcast yesterday that Joseph was on about the merits of the 7 or 8 round season. It really is interesting. They race every other week, so they have a break off, but often you get those long championship seasons where the drivers are just racing out the string at the end and interest is lost. I love what they do here at ABL. 7 or 8 races at the most. Your champion is named, and then they move on again. They wipe it off and start fresh. That's the way to do it. You know, talk about Spa. If you're ever watching this place in the real world, it's always rainy and overcast here. Not the case here today. Joseph, how's the weather look today?
Well, from where I am at the moment in the commentary box, the sun's out, and yeah, it's quite hot here today. It's 65 Fahrenheit. I mean, it's not overly hot, but it's decent weather. A bit of cloud in the air. 91-degree track temp, so drivers got to watch out for that. It's you know, a bit heated, obviously, because the sun's out, not covered by clouds so much. There's a bit of wind, 7 miles an hour, blowing southeast, and we've got a 37% humidity at the moment. So, yeah, it's quite hot here, Soup, at the moment.
Now, you're familiar with these cars a lot. It's the fuel is just 30% fuel, so they have to make a stop. They're racing for an hour. You do a lot of racing over in the Apex Online Racing. We cover these cars over there. Their races are sometimes a little shorter, with the feature races only being 40 minutes, or they do have the longer races now over there. Would we change tires? Do you see tires as something that you might change if you're going for 60 minutes?
Definitely not. With these cars, the tires last an absolute age, and there's nothing really to gain changing tires. In AOR, you're now forced to make a pit stop changing tires, but you know, you don't really need to.
Got it.
Because the tires just last, and over an hour race, just need fuel.
Got it. So, well, let's talk about something else. One of the things that we've seen a lot, again, we have a lot of familiarity covering this machine over in the Apex Online Racing, because we covered their series for many seasons. And again, absolute beginners have just switched Formula Neagle over to these Formula Renaults this season. This is only our 3rd race in, rather than we've covered them in the Skippies. But something that happens a lot is damaging. Sometimes you don't even see it. The undercarriage, if you go over the curbing or something, your car can be damaged, and you'll have to pay for a longer pit stop. How's the curbs here at Spa? Is it something you have to worry about with these fragile Formula Renaults?
Generally, the curbs around Spa aren't too bad, because most of them you really don't want to run over, because they're sort of quite high, and it can really throw you off balance. You sort of one to watch. If you make a mistake going into the bus stop, there's a sausage curb on the inside of each corner, so you need to watch out for that and make sure you don't run over those, because you can definitely damage the cars on there.
Here we go. We're going to ride on this is great. Our director has found the roadkill camera here, and you can see how low we are to the ground. There's those curbs right there that Joseph was just talking about. And now, pit lane. Let's talk about how pit lane works here, because Spa has many different configurations. Do we have to go all the way around the McDonald's ordering and all the way through, or is it a little shorter here today?
No, not just a nice short one today, Soup. We're running the Grand Prix layout, so drivers will enter in through the exit of the bus stop, as you just saw, and come out of turn 1 at the source. So we won't be running the endurance pits, where you'll be going all the way up Eau Rouge and doing whatever else. But yeah, nice and short here today, Soup.
And you can see that the pit boxes are right there. As soon as you come in off of the bus stop, you make that the pit boxes are right where they belong. Then you do a little bit of the U-turn there that sends you back out on the other side of the source, but you don't have to go all the way down like Joseph was talking about to Eau Rouge before you exit out. So that should be a little less demanding on these cars. Again, pit stops have been the key point so far this season, with Claudius Speed having issues in both of his races. He's been the dominant factor. Qualifying is going on right now. Let's take a look at this. And unique to this series, something we don't see a lot of, open qualifying here.
Indeed. So we've got 20 minutes where the drivers are allowed to make as many laps as they like, complete as many laps as they can in the time. So, you know, the cars are all out on track at once. There's no sort of separate sessions kind of thing. So drivers can be a bit cheeky and try and steal a slipstream of someone, and you know, especially going down the Kemmel Straight, having a teammate could be really, really beneficial here.
Gonna do a little bit of fine tuning on that one. While it is open qualifying, what is unique about this? They actually limit the amount of hot laps, actually qualifying laps, you're allowed to have. They only give you 3. So you get 1 out lap, that one doesn't count out of your pits, and then you get 3 hot laps to try to put in your best lap. Now, if you happen to spin it and you have to come out again, that out lap's going to cost you 1, so you really only get 2 if that's the case. But right now, that's why you saw all those cars parked. They put in their 3 qualifying laps, and they're just waiting for the qualifying to finish up. Right now, we are riding on board with Tuan Tran, former champion. He won in Season 5 in the Skippies. And coincidentally, or maybe not so coincidentally, his championship stopped as soon as Errol Num got on the scene, because Errol Num won one in season 6 and has been winning almost everything ever since. They won't really mention it, but maybe that's one of the reasons that the Formula Renault seemed so appealing to them, was anything that maybe change up the dominance of the Roland Estonian. We think this is the last 2 cars, and that's in. I think qualifying is just about locked in. There's a little extra time, but with this being such a large field of about 40 drivers and a standing start, let's go ahead and get to the grid right now. We think this is pretty much locked in, and boy, do we have a surprise to tell you up on front. On the front row, it is the Portuguese driver, Diogo Francisco. He's going to be inside of Errol Num as soon as we bring these graphics up here. There they are. Good to see those. Now, how about row 2, Joseph?
With row 2, we have the rookie Claudius Wied and Piers Kokke.
David Third Degree Burns and Alex Janssen sits in row 3.
On row 4, we have Tuan Tran and Bastian Huisman.
You don't have to call me Alistair. He says you can call me Ali. Ali Hayes sits in 9th inside of Yael Valverde.
Martin Kapau is P11, and Sarah Dove lines up P12.
In the Baker's Dozen spot is Eric Blix, Tom van Hooyman in 14th.
In 15th, we have John Morgan, lining up alongside him as Gap SRT driver Luca Furlick.
The fan belt, Johan Vanderbilt, is going to be inside of Christian Mies.
Josh Brain and Liam Quinn are 19th and 20th, respectively.
Hidden Blackjack, it's Bambi, Neil Bamber in 21st. The double duck spot, Marcus Gastal.
Use Junk, P23, and P24 is Wojciech Potacek.
Alejandro Hierro and Hendrik Kamara in 26th.
Elmar Noteboom and Franz Josef Stum are 27th and 28th.
Row 15 is populated by Ian Robson and Matt Carballo.
On row 16, Cooper Collier and Ben Summers.
Then we get to the last 2 drivers who put in qualifying time, Lance Simon and Zachary Czar. Then there are 4 drivers who did not put in time. Adam Young, my fellow boothmate here, Daniel Solo, who we saw in the Tier 2 F2 Championship. He's down there starting at the back. Adam Bradshaw and Kevin Mills. 34 drivers put in qualifying times, 38 entries on the starting list. We'll see how many grid up. Little bit of time left over as we get to see. There's a beautiful scenic shot here at Spa-Francorchamps. Nice job by our director. You can see the sun pounding down on the track. Not too hot. 91 degrees track temperature. Joseph, that should not make traction too bad, correct?
No, it should be alright. It's not overly hot. It's sort of in the middle. It's not... Drivers like the track as cold as possible, with a bit of cloud most likely, usually. But it's not an issue, it's not a pain, so drivers should be pretty happy with the conditions and look forward to the race ahead.
Let's talk about the race ahead. We have the surprise pole sitter. We talked about him not being under the radar anymore, and I'm talking about Diogo Francisco. Yes, he is fast and demonstrated right now as he put in a qualifying time of 2:15.4. That's about 2/10 faster than the Roland Estonian Errol Num. That front row going to be very impressive. Claudius Wied, who has been basically wire to wire the entire first 2 races, except we keep pounding this point home, the horrible pit stops. Hopefully Wied has that issue taken care of and he can be competitive. Piers Kokke, his nickname is Short Phil. That's because he is notorious for not putting enough fuel into the car, and yes, he'll have to worry about that here again, as there will be a pit stop. David Third Degree Burns, a veteran of the series, has a couple career wins under his belt, still looking for his first championship. And then the guy outside of row 3, he's sitting 5th in the points right now. He hails out of Sweden, Alex Jansson. Don't know much about him, but it's always nice to see new blood in the series coming up. Hopefully they can keep it all clean. Again, we talked about how the track layout's a little bit different. Where are we starting this time? Well, you can see him lining up. they will have, they'll be heading right into the hairpin, right into La Source right away. So not a lot of run before they have to get this thing turned around. And then it's a long ride all the way down to Lacombe. It's round 3, the absolute beginners Formula Neagle. Only the 3rd race ever in these new Formula Renault 2.0s. And they've been putting on a good show so far. If you don't know where we are, you can see it right there on the signage. Circuit Spa-Francorchamps. A few crossover drivers from the AOR here. Ali Hay coming over. He races with you in that one. Many series that we cover here on GSRC. Only 2 on the books today. The iRacing Lotus 79s were earlier this morning. Drivers are talking amongst themselves now, saying, everybody be careful. We cannot win the race in turn 1, but you can lose it. They just want to get all these cars around. 34 put in qualifying times. Adam Bradshaw did take the grid, as did Daniel Solo. Adam Young is also out there. Kevin Mills did not. 37 cars on the grid. You can hear the engine start to harmonize. Gather up the chickens. Take cover behind the cows, because the horses are out of the barn. And look at the Rolling Estonian on the outside trying to put the pressure right away on Francisco, but he does not. The driver in 3rd is Veed. He tucks in there as well. There's a battle back for 4th. Pierce Cocky looks like he's going to slot in there. David 3rd Degree Burns is under pressure by Janssen. In 7th, it is Bastian Hausmann as they work their way through Ready On right now. Everybody so far, so good.
Yeah, looks like a pretty clean start, Soup. I was expecting 1 or 2 pretty big incidents like we saw at Spa 2012 in Formula 1, but it looks pretty clean from the drivers, and look at the mass of cars down that straight. Yeah,
about 21st position. The first 20 are great, but about 18th position, that's where it's going to be crazy. John Morgan gets into Lacombe first. They sort it out. They go 2 by 2 by 2 through the twisty sections. It looks like animals getting on the arc, but they managed to make it all the way through. Up front, it is still single file as they work now down into Puhan for the very first time. They head down the hill.
We have a driver who's had issues. John Morgan went into the barrier at the chicane.
We'll come back. We'll look at that one a little bit later. Morgan was the leader. Remember, I mentioned his name, of that swarm of cars that were heading down there. He was racing about 18th position. The pressure got to him. Up in front, it is still the Portuguese driver of Francisco, racing all by himself. A battle back for 4th position. Janssen is on the move. Janssen has moved up around Pierce Cocky. He's now into 4th. He qualified in 6th. Another driver making a move back there in 6th position around Cocky. That's Bastian Hoyman. Pierce is going the wrong direction. David Burns is tucking his nose in there. There, you see him going under you right now. That was Burns. Burns gets the pass made. Cocky falls back. Oh, let me correct myself. Cocky hanging in there. Burns has to settle for 7th. Yal Valverde in 8th. Down into the bus stop for the 2nd time.
Oh, he's going to go for the move. He's just backed out slightly early. He poked his nose in there, letting him know he's in there. João Valverde knocking on David Burns' door.
Marcus Gastal heading to pit lane, as is Henrik Kamara. Not sure why that is. Maybe they had a little bit of damage. They have to get something fixed. That will not.
Oh, there's a car around. Who's that? Falling through the field. That's Bastian
Hausmann. Yeah, Hausmann got around. He was in 8th position. He was racing in 5th at the time. He had worked his way from 8th up into 5th, and Bastian spun it right out of La Source, and he had to wait and wait and wait and wait, and by the time he got it back on, he cycles down into 28th position.
Yeah, he wasn't with anyone. He just sort of lost the back end going into La Source and then ran wide and spun the car around. So just a bit of an issue there for Bastian, but wasn't anyone else's fault.
They're coming at you. Let's catch our breath now, and we'll set the stage up front. Up in the lead, it is Diogo Francisco. He's beginning to pull away a little bit as we'll get to our leaders here in just a minute. I'll wait for our director to catch up to us. We're still on Bastian Hausman. There we go. Now we're up to our leader. There's Francisco. He's beginning to pull away a little bit from Errol Num. That gap about 0.7 of a second. But look at what Num has done as he's trying to leave behind Claudius Veed. But Veed will have none of it as he strives to stay in there. The driver in fourth, hang in there as well. The man who's been on the move, the Swedish driver, Alex Jansson. But then, after the top four, then there is the huge gap back to fifth position. That's João Valverde and David Burns. Those guys lost a little bit of momentum when Bastian Hausman had his spin. That's a great shot. Look at that. I love this faraway shot as they go behind the foliage here at Spa. Hard not to have one of these high angle shots where they don't go behind the trees, because this is certainly a tree-lined race course.
Yep. Right in the Arden Forest soup, so trees are plentiful.
Let's go back to seventh. Let's go to Eric Blix. He was in 8th position. This was a great battle. He got a little bit of a punt from, Tuan Tran, and actually Tran goes around. This is out of the bus stop. Tran has spun it. And we're going to look, this is Blix and Tran all together. This is the same replay. Blix comes out of the bus stop. Now Tran is right behind him. That's Tran who spun. We just missed it there. And then you can see Tran backing up, trying to get the car going straight again. Blix continues. Tran had the issue. Now we are back live. We're on Blix right now. He is currently racing in 8th position. That is actually 9th. He's being challenged. No, that's 8th position, 9th position. He's looking to get around. Look at that car there. I've been told it is magenta. That is the car of Sarah Dove. Sarah started in 12th, and she's going to lose that spot. Blix dives it down in there into Rivage. Can he finish? Let's stay on this one. They come out of Rivage now. Down the hill they go. Sarah gets it out on the AstroTurf. Let's see if Blix has right behind him. Boy, he's going to duck inside. I think he's going to be in good position for Wuhan. Let's see if he can finish the job. Sarah leaves him room. Leaves him plenty of room, but she'll have the momentum here, Joseph. She might be able to hold him off.
Yep, she might be able to.
I think she does.
Two drivers, well, she's a bit of a train of cars forming behind them, just waiting to sort of pounce and hope that they make a mistake, get caught up in something.
We talked about crossover driver Sarah Dove. We got to meet her originally when she was racing in the Apex Online guys, along with Joseph over there in those Formula Renaults. She now races in all sorts of broadcasts here on GSRC. We're looking at Eric Blix in 9th position. And right behind him, he's got his hands full. That is Johan Vanderbilt. As they head down into the bus stop, they'll get this sorted out. First to the bus stop is Dove, then Blix, Vanderbilt. Also in the mix, Tom Van Hoyman, Furlick, and Mies. Oh, a car that spun, that's off. That's Sarah Dove. She lost it in the bus stop. And she has to give it all up. I told you in the countdown to green, that's where you wanted to buy your ticket. That's the action corner. Sarah was first into the bus stop. You see her there in her magenta car. She's being followed by Blix. Joseph, too much curving, maybe it looked like there. Is that what my guess is?
Yeah, maybe. Sometimes traction on the car. Sometimes the traction on the car can be a bit dodgy, and sometimes they just spin. Pierre Scocchi also in the pits, so something's happened to him.
Yeah, he was falling. Let's go to 5th position. This is João Valverde in the number 15 car. He's being hounded by David Burns. In fact, I can tell you that Burns was leading, and he has lost that position to Valverde, the second Portuguese driver. Not quite the same reputation that our leader has, Diego Francisco, but these guys are both coming onto the scene here. They head down into Wuhan. Let's watch Burns. Burns has a good run, but not going to force the issue. These guys are, my gosh, 5 seconds behind the front 4 cars. Ride on board with Third Degree. looking over his right shoulder. Nothing going on up front. Although when we get a chance, maybe we can go to third position, because here comes Alex Janssen making a move. As soon as we get there, they are side by side. That's Janssen trying to get around the hotshot rookie Claudius Veed, and he does. The Swedish driver qualified in 6th, and he has picked up 3 spots on the track. Move him up into a podium spot now. Next on his hit list, Errol Num.
Yep, he's showing where he wants to be in this series, and he's proving that to us, that he's, you know, he wants this title. He's fighting his way through the field. Now on lap 5 and up into P3, and he's not too far behind multi-time champion Aaron Num.
Yeah, let's stay on this one as we look off the tail of the Roland Estonian. I think he is in the clutches. Here he comes. You can see the car getting big in your screen, but he has to check up. There's no room through a Rouge and Radion, but now he's got to run. Here he comes. He makes the move to the Num's left. They are side by side. He has the momentum. I think he's going to be able to finish the job even before they get to the corner. Can he close the door? He does. He's trying to bring along Veed as well. Veed decides not to get in there. One more spot for Sweden. Alex Janssen on the hunt.
Indeed he is. The only man now stopping him from that lead is Diogo Francisco, and he's less than a second up ahead of him, Sue.
Yep. So Janssen, don't know what issues he had during qualifying, but right now he's got the pace. You can see at the far left of your screen now coming at you, the cars 3 and 4 in line. That's Num and Veed. Those are the 2 guys who have been battling the whole season. They've been racing up front. Not the case today. A couple new sheriffs have come to town here in Belgium in the name of Diogo Francisco and Alex Janssen. The front 4 cars, Joseph, 6.2 seconds ahead of the 2 guys battling for 5th and 6th, Valverde and Burns.
Yeah, they're just a class ahead of everyone at the moment, and no one else seems to really be able to match them. In a bit of league of their own, really, and it's just about which one of the 4 isn't going to claim that podium spot.
And right now you can see that Francisco trying to pull away. The battle will stay on this lead battle here for a minute. It continues to be tight as they go into the bus stop one more time. Veed all over the back of Num. Of course, there is a pit stop to be made. I gotta figure that Claudius is going to have a better one today. Now they spread out a bit, so let's leave this lead battle for just a minute. I want to talk about the drivers in 5th and 6th, but really, I want to talk about the driver in 7th, because here he comes. Ali Hay, a guy you're familiar racing with over there in Apex as well. He's doing his very best to close in on the back of Burns, only 1.5 seconds behind the 6th place driver.
Yeah, I know Alistair very well, being a teammate of his, and he's been really pushing this week to try and get a very, very good result here. And he's knocking on the door of David J. Burns and João Valverde as well. So that's a top 5 finish up there.
Let's go to 9th real quick as a pass is being made. Tom Van Hooyman just got around Eric Blix. Van Hooyman also on the move. He qualified in 14th. He is up 5 spots now, comfortably inside the top 10 as he gets around Eric Blix, who we saw to have some issues early as Blix got his gearbox punted a little bit by Tuan Tran. Those guys race inside the top 10.
Next up for Tom is Johan van der Velde. Very familiar here at GSRC. And yeah, not too far out of them is the battle for P5, so this could really catch up. We're going to go have a look at Wojciech. He's had a bit of an issue.
We talked about Wojciech earlier. He is when we GSRC first got onto look at this issue right here. When we first got onto the scene, Wojciech was a top runner here. And here we see the Polish driver having his issues. Boy, he almost caught it, and then it came around the other way. And that's not the first time that he has had issues.
Yeah, and when we were watching that replay, he spun again at no name, so not Wojciech's day at the moment. A bit of damage to that car as well.
We are back live. Nothing going on up front. They still race in the same order. Francisco, Janssen, Veed, and... Oh, let me correct myself. Veed has got around Errol Num. And Num is now into fourth and beginning to lose touch. There you see it,
Num
and there is
struggling.
Num.
Yeah, he's struggling. Pace just doesn't seem to be there at the moment compared to these guys. Aaron Num set a 2:17.2 last lap, whereas Claudius Veed was 1.7 seconds faster on a 2:15.5, and that was in fact
Here he
Veed's
comes.
fastest lap.
Veed getting around the outside of Janssen. He's going to get this done easily as they head down into Lacombe. It's done and dusted before they even get there. You almost wonder, that was so easily done, you almost wonder if the German and the Swede are not maybe going to try to work together to see if they can run down the guy they're after, Francisco. That gap, you mark it down, boys and girls, if you're scoring at home, 0.8 of a second between Francisco back to Veed, and Veed is coming. There you see him coming right at you. Francisco, Veed, Janssen, and then a ways back, Errol Num. It has been all Portugal up front early, but we still have a long way to go. Only a quarter of the way through, 45 minutes of racing go, just 15 minutes into this race. Let's take this opportunity. We talked about the drivers in the top 10. Let's go ahead and look at the driver in the top 10 right now, Luca Fröhlich. Fröhlich moves up a spot. I wonder if there was an issue from somebody that I scanned through to see if anybody out of the top 10 is missing. No, I don't know who that is. Fröhlich now into the 10th position. Sarah Dove, we saw her have her issues. She's in 11th, right behind in the 38 machine. We'll round out the next 5 drivers here. Liam Quinn, Mr. Excitement, in 12th, up from 20th. Josh Brain, another driver who's picked up 5 spots, racing in 13th position. Yush Yunk, up 8 positions into 15th, and then the last car in 15th spot that we'll talk about, Christian Mies. None of those cars really in contact with each other. They're just putting in the miles right now.
Yeah, bit of a gap between a lot of the midfield now. And just sort of fighting their way through, staying out of incidents and just trying to get to the highest spot they can. We've got just over 40 minutes to go, 43 minutes.
So after running through the back pack of their like 11th through 15th, let's go back in and check up front because the gap is closing. Boys and girls, I told you it was 0.8 of a second last time. Well, how about 0.3 of a second now? Here comes the German driver of Claudius Veed. He has caught him. And Joseph, not only has Veed caught Francisco, but he has left Janssen behind.
Yep, Janssen now 1.4 seconds behind the pair of these guys. Errol Num a further second behind Alex Janssen. So these guys, Claudius Veed and Diego Francisco, seem to be the fastest guys on track at the moment. Last lap, Claudius Veed did a 2:15.2. That is GTE territory.
Yeah. Veed, though, did have a little bit of a mixed apex through Rivage there, and he lost a little bit of ground on Francisco. This could be good news for Janssen. Maybe Janssen can get into the tow. Talk about the draft. Is there much draft in these cars? I guess at Spa there's a little bit on the, as you head down into Lacombe, right? I would imagine.
Yeah, these cars, passing-wise, really do rely on that slipstream, that draft, to get that overspeed on the car ahead. Spa is one of them ones that it really, really helps. Places like Montreal, Monza, with these long straights where drivers can just sit in the slipstream and just, you know, manage that, and they just gain the speed. You know, the cars just punch a hole in the air for each other, and that's essentially the main way of overtaking in these cars.
There's another spot there as they head down in the bus stop, another good passing spot. We'll leave that one for a minute, but we'll keep an eye on it. Let's go back to 19th position. Our director wants us to talk about Ian Robson. He's being chased by Marcus Gastal. That gap about a second apart. And just ahead, this may be a little closer battle. This is 17th. This is Franz Strum and Adam Young. Adam said, of course, he's done a lot of these AOR broadcasts. He said his goal is just to not cause any trouble. Hey, let's go to the lead. They're side by side. Up in front, it's Francisco and Weed on the inside. Weed gets the pass made. We have a new leader. The German driver has caught, and sure enough, it was the toe out of Radion down into Lacombe. And it took him a while to get there. They're working lap number 9, but we have a new leader for the first time here in round 3. It is Claudius Weed, but this is only the first part of his race. He must follow up the success on the track with a good pit stop.
Yeah, good pit stop, and there's still 40 minutes to go. That works out to about 18 more laps. So we're about a third of the way through this race, and if it's going to be as exciting as the first third, you know, we're in for a very, very good final 2/3 of the race too.
So while the pass was made for the lead there, so something I get to rhyme here, it's going to sound a little bit like Dr. Seuss, but Weed is in the lead. Francisco behind him. But now what's interesting, let's drop back to 3rd position because, boy, I have this rubber band on my wrist. I snap it every time I quote Darrell Waltrip. But we have comers and goers, and here is a comer and a goer, and now a comer. Errol Num goes to the inside. The Bushfink pink driver looks like he's going to be able to get the job done. Wow, he doesn't. Look at him drive through Boschemont. He gets that done down into the bus stop. Back into 3rd, the Roland Estonian.
Yep, finally looks to have some pace this race, is Aaron Num.
Num back 2 seconds. Oh my goodness, I underestimated. 2.8 seconds to Francisco. And as much as we'd like to cover all the drivers, we got to go back up to the lead. I got a hunch that Francisco is close enough here. Boy, he's about 7 car lengths back. Let's see what kind of run he gets through a Rouge and Radion and see if he gets a run down into Lacombe. 5 car lengths, 4 car lengths, 3 car lengths, 2 car lengths, 1 car length, side by side. And the pass is made. Sounded like an auctioneer going in reverse there, didn't I? Sold to Diogo Francisco. Back out in front. Interval, 3.1 seconds. You almost wonder if Weed and Francisco aren't as much racing as they are dancing now. See if they can kind of leapfrog their way away from... Oh! Talk about dancing.
Aaron Num's Alex Jansson's got back past Aaron Num. Must have happened while we were on the battle with Francisco and Weed.
My guess is that it happened probably at the
same time down into Lacombe.
So we have a pair of dance partners up in front. Little Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Yes, I said I would only use references from this century. That one takes us back about 70 years. Google it! I can't think of a current dance team. All right, so with that going on up front, I pretty feel comfortable. There might be some passes for the lead up there, but it is as much just choreography as it is racing. So let's go ahead and go back through the field. Our director and I will see if we can find you something. Let's go back to 19th. This is Pierce Cockey. Now, Cockey qualified in 4th, racing a car number 23. He took a stop already, if I remember right. He's got that stop in. I'm not so sure what's going on. I think he might have to even take another stop. This is interesting. He's racing with Ian Robson. We're going to try something that we've never done before here. No, we're not. Okay. Okay, we were going to try to break the mold, but we don't want to get in trouble. Fellow commentator Adam Young offered to come in and talk to us. Let's go look at Adam right now. He said if I'm all by myself, I'd be happy to talk to you while I'm racing. He's all by himself, 2 seconds ahead to 17th, 2 seconds back to 19th. We'll let him do his business.
And it's pit stop sign time soup. Literally, everyone is in apart from Claudius Veed. So
yes, indeed.
It's an interesting call from Veed to stay out that extra lap, but he feels like he can do that on the fuel he's got.
Francisco, Janssen, Num, Valverde, Vanderbilt, Blixt. Now, Hay was the driver who took a stop earlier, so he was the leader of all the cars who pitted. Let's quickly go to 8th position. This is car number 14, as he's making a move on Eric Blix right now. Why do we care about Hay? Because he's done. He is heading his way. He's got to... Well, he's into Lacombe. Let's make sure I'm actually doing this right. Yeah, Hayes made his stop. So the question is... but they're out. Francisco is out. Yeah, these guys are well out. Francisco is now into Pujan. Here's the order that they come out of the pit stop. Francisco, Janssen, Num, Valverde, and Vanderbilt. And Joseph, they're separated, all those guys.
Yep, essentially Francisco and Janssen. Nom separated. Nom's got a 1 second gap to Janssen, so he's the closest of the pitted drivers. Claudius Veed is the remaining man to come into the pits.
Well, you know, I guess, and he's doing that right now, I guess if you have trouble doing your pit stop, I guess you want to put that off as long as you can. All right, Claudius, round 1, round 2, this was your Achilles heel. Pit stop times for your competitors. 29 seconds, 29 seconds, 29 seconds, cone to cone. In the box for just under 5. Let's see how Veed does. He is in. 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. His stop, 5 seconds. Not bad, not bad. And he is out.
In the lead.
In the lead. That gap 1 second over Francisco. Mission accomplished for Claudius Veed. So here's how it stands. Your top 10. Claudius Veed has an 8 seconds lead over Diogo Francisco, but Francisco is closing. It is 4.5 seconds back to Alex Janssen. But Errol Num is in striking distance in 4th, only a second back. You see them right there. Go back a little bit farther, 10 seconds actually farther, until you get to Yal Valverde, up 5 spots into 5th. A battle for 6th, though. Remember we talked about Ali Hay? Well, he's still in that battle with Eric Blix as they battle for 6th, separated by only a car lane. So let's watch this for a minute. They head down into the revive. Here comes Blix. He's going to duck to the inside. He'll have the preferred position. And he gets it done. But I got a hunch that's not the last time those two cars are going to swap positions before this race is over. Let's drop back to 8th. Hey, the car number 38, Sarah Dove. She has been far back as 12th. She's made it up. Double check, make sure she's made her pit stop. She has. Then you got to go about 5.5 seconds back to Josh Brain. Up 10 positions. Rounding out your top 10, Mr. Excitement, Liam Quinn, up another 10 spots. All this goes on behind Claudius Veed. There's Liam. And there's Veed and Francisco. You can see Francisco closing the gap. It was 0.8 of a second. Well, it is 8. It's down to, well, it's about a second back now as Francisco does not have a good exit out of the bus stop. He had picked up a lot of time but lost it all there. Through La Source. Joseph, take a look at Francisco. Right now, is he too far back? What's your guess for being in the tow? He's a second back right now. Is he getting some of it?
He might be getting a slight bit, but sort of the toes really starts to pick up around 0.8 of a second. So he's sort of just outside that optimal range. So he'll probably be getting a little bit from Claudius Veed's slipstream, but nothing major at the moment too.
Look at the number separating those two. It really did hold at just 1 second flat. He didn't get anything. I think he's just has a smell, a whiff, like Belgian chocolates. He can just smell that draft, but he's got to get a little bit closer. All right, now we've had, okay. Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. Columbus discovered America. And we're going to have a first here for the Global SimRacing Channel as we go on board for a live during the race interview with Adam Young. Adam, do you have a copy?
I do, Soup. How are you guys?
All right, look, you're 21 seconds behind Burns. You're 6 seconds ahead of Notenbaum, who's chasing you. You should be able to do this. How's it feel out there?
You know, the car feels very stable. That's, of course, my goal is just to kind of learn the car, get stable, get consistent, and speed will come later. But all I was really shooting for was the top 20, so very happy with where I'm at right now.
As you head down into the combs, there we go. Get on the brakes now. Yeah, I can help you through here. I can do it like talking you in if you want. You're coming out of here. Don't get on the gas now. Now you can put the throttle down. Is that helping?
Oh, a little bit.
Okay, well, we'll let you go as you work into the garage. Keep it on the track. We'll check back in with you at the end of the race.
All right, sounds good. Soup, you guys have a good show.
There you have it. History made here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Okay, let's go. Oh, you know what? And while that's going on, we've had issues. That's why we don't do it. Let's go to the leader, see if we can find it. Veed, disaster has struck. He is now in 4th. We'll see if we can find out what happened. What happened to Veed? Somewhere during everything. I'm rewinding it, and it looked like he was in 4th at the bus stop. Where was the mistake? Oh, it was heading
after the chicane, going into Stablo 1 and 2 on the exit of the chicane just before there, after Pilm.
This lap, we'll find it. The car got loose on him. We'll see if we can find it, and it gets worse. He actually nosed it into the tires. Let's see, what position is he in there? That's probably not back far enough. It looks like, yeah, that's the. We'll go back a little bit farther here. We're going to find this one because it's important. If we can get a high-angle shot, we want to find him when he is in the lead. That'll help us. Looks like he's in 4th there, so that's probably after the spin. So disaster has struck again. We missed that one. See, that teaches us a lesson to go to our in-car interview while things were happening. We thought it was safe up front. So, our leader now is back to Diogo Francisco. Janssen is in 2nd. Num is in 3rd. Those guys continue to swap. Janssen and Num continue to swap positions. The gap to the Portuguese driver in the lead, 5 seconds. Does Veed have any chance to get to Num? That interval, 3.5. So once again, we thought that Claudius, he's like Sisyphus in high heels. He's making the job harder than it needs to be. You can get the boulder to the top of the hill if you got through the pit stop, but disaster finds him about the halfway mark again. Boy, they are really spread out on the course. See if we can find you a battle that's anywhere close together. Yeah, we're gonna go back here. Joseph, take a look at 17th position. This is Hendrik Kamara. He's being chased by Marcus Gastal.
Yeah, and you've got Christian Mies just behind the pair here, waiting to pounce. So down into the run, into Blanchimon, we should see Marcus Gastal get the slipstream. So maybe move into the bus stop.
It's got to be flat out for these Formula Renaults through this corner, right? There's no lifting going on here.
No, completely flat out for these guys unless they're going side by side. And is he going to pull out for a move into the bus stop? Yes, he is. He's down on the inside.
And he'll have the momentum. Yeah. Oh, he gets loose. and he lost it. Marcus Gastal coming out of the bus stop. He had the pass made, tried to get on the power early. I said he would have the momentum. He tried to get on it. He lost it. He's going to not only lose those spots, but he loses 19th position to Martin Capal. Oh, he gets it back. He takes it back right away. Martin says, okay, go ahead. All right.
6. Soup, Alice Allier, we were mentioning him earlier, is battling with Eric Blixt. Very, very close between them. Again, that slipstream should come into effect for Alice going down into Blanchimont, where we saw that move happen into the bus stop. This long run now, completely flat, right down to those final 2 corners.
Okay, the interval, as well, let's go up to, there's Alistair Hay. We're looking at that now for 7th. Blixt and Hay, again, we talked about them swapping. They are going to swap. There's 25 minutes of racing to go. They will swap maybe a dozen times between now and the end of the race. Blixt does a much better job. No, he doesn't. I would say he does a better job on corner exit out of the bus stop, but he too has trouble getting the power down, and that's going to open it up to Alistair Hay.
Yeah, the thing is here, if Alistair Hay gets ahead, Eric Blixt is going to get the slipstream all the way down into Le Comte, so it's kind of a reverse effect. Alistair probably didn't want him to make that mistake. So we'll probably see another change of position here soon.
Let's go ahead and stay on it here, and he's going to get it back, so that takes a little bit of the sting out of the wound of blowing the bus stop, and sure enough, and I don't think there's a big fight there from Hay. That'll probably get a little more intense as our counter gets closer to 0. Let's go ahead and check in on our leaders again, see what that interval is. Diogo Francisco. He sits in first, out by 6 seconds. Janssen in second, Num in third. Num looking here. These 2 guys are losing touch. I think their main concern is not so much catching the guy in front, but staying ahead of Veed. Veed seems to be making no time at all. Remember, on his spin, Joseph, he did nose the car into the wall. I look at a close look at the wings look okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the car is racing fully healthy.
No, it doesn't. Again, there could be some floor damage, some suspension damage that he suffered. I mean, you can probably see the aero damage on his car on the front wing, but there's no way we can tell if he's got suspension damage or floor damage. I mean, apart from his lap times, really, and they just haven't really been up to scratch compared to his previous pace before his spin.
And yeah, sure enough, he decided that he's going to have to come in. Boy, that's going to crush him. Honestly, you were racing in 4th. You almost had to stay out there and just kind of limp with you. I think you're going to lose more positions than taking this pit stop than you would have lost otherwise.
But these guys got to make 2 stops this race anyway, so it won't hurt Claudius too much.
You are correct. I've forgotten it is a 2-stop race.
Yep.
Thank you for that. They changed the rules on me. Thank you. That's why you get the big money.
He's had a slightly longer stop than everyone else before, 10.1 seconds, so that would have been a nose cone change for Claudius Veed. So another 5 seconds added on to his total pit lane time compared to all the other guys. So when everyone else makes their stop, he will probably be in a battle somewhere.
Okay, we saw on screen the pass that was made there again, Hay around Blixt. What's interesting is 1.5 seconds behind these guys and coming is little bird Sarah Dove. Little by little, she is flapping her wings and running these guys down. You would think they'd be faster doing the leapfrog, but I think all the battling that's going on, and this maybe Sarah just might have the pace, as now it's down to 1.2 seconds. She's really close. You can see right there, so you get that long shot. There they are. You can see them all in the same screen right there. So, we can report that Claudius Veed is in and out. He made that stop. Uh-oh, I heard something on the track, and it's Hendrik Kamara. Happened right now, and boy, this is a painful one. He was racing in 16th position, car number 9, as he puts it in the wall, and now he takes the tow. This one, oh, you might want to close your eyes and take your hands away from anything you're holding here. This goes sour, and it goes sour quick. Ow! If Mama Jean is watching at home, my 95-year-old mother-in-law, first of all, hello, Mama Jean, happy Sunday, and remember, it's all simulated. Hendrik is fine. It really didn't happen to him. And now we talked about Sarah Dove. Well, she's there now. She's closing in. Hay racing in 5th as we had a few more drivers make pits. Nope. Veed has made his stop. He's the leader of all the cars who pitted in 8th. We'll stay here on this one, though. One of the best battles on the track. You know what's interesting here, Joseph? Remember, it was Hay and Blix mixing it up, but your friend Ali has said enough of that. He's left Eric behind. And now Eric's got to worry about the trouble coming in from Bird.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a gap now, hasn't he? And Sarah is now in that slipstream, and Tom Van Hooyman is out and away, makes a nice clean pit stop, 4.6 seconds, and pit lane time will be 29.3, so nice clean stop there from Tom. And if we go back to Claudius, see where he is currently, he's fed back in P8, 12 seconds behind these guys. And he's got Josh Brain just over a second behind, so you know, these guys have still got to pit yet. Claudius Veed has made his second stop, these guys have not. So he should probably come out P5, maybe just behind João Valverde.
Yeah, I'm going to scold myself. I really should have been paying more attention when my partner was doing the event details, and we talked about that this is a 2-stop race. It says force of habit. I have done countless Formula Neagle events, and it's a 1-stopper. Yes, they are 2-stoppers this time. And that's why drivers that took that early stop that were confusing, drivers like Pierce Cocky, why are they coming in so early? Well, they were just doing their splash and go first. That's all they were doing. So now here's the order of drivers who pitted. Veed has made his stop. Pierce Cocky is second. He's probably good to go the rest of the way. Van Hooyman as well. We ride on board off the back of Blix. And it looks like Sarah is dropped a little bit there. Gap up front, the leader still 6 seconds. Let's go to second position, though, as we've got some interesting stuff to say here. Alex Janssen has opened it up a bit on Num. Num now back by 1.2 seconds and close to losing touch with the Swede. Lap traffic will be an issue as well for these drivers. Francisco has worked away around guys like Potocek and Robson. And now he'll be coming up on the back of, let's go to our leader real quick, and let's give all the guys at the Backmarker United centers all around the globe a chance to cheer here as we'll look at Ben Summers in 25th position. Last car on the lead lap. Now Ben has only made 1 stop, so everybody on all the Backmarker United rooms around the globe are telling Ben this is time to pit. Let's stay here on our leader and see how Francisco negotiates. I assumed he was going to get there a little faster than he did, but to give us a chance to give a little attention to Diego Francisco. Adam Young has had an issue, nothing that we need to do, but he went off a little bit, got it off into the Belgian alfalfa, but he got it going straight. All right, here comes Diego. They head into the bus stop now. Ben, go straight. go into pit lane. Well, you know what? If you're not going to go into the pit lane, then I'll go into the pit lane. So Diego comes in. Janssen will go by. Num will go by. Valverde still yet to get to the bus stop. He's coming up behind Vocek Potocek. Vocek takes an interesting line through the bus stop. Valverde goes by. And Veed goes to the bus stop now, and Francisco is in and out. Cycles out into 4th position. And how far ahead is he from Veed? Well, let's
Veed
go
is
ahead.
at the hairpin, I believe. Just exiting. We'll have a look now.
Yeah, that gap back to Veed, oh my goodness, about 17 seconds. No, let me correct that. It looks like it's more like 34 seconds. My gosh, that's a long way back. Nope, I was right the first time. 17. Got to learn what column to check. Nevertheless, I don't think Francisco will have to worry about the German driver unless Francisco has an issue. So our leaders now, Janssen, Num, and Valverde. Let's look at car number 15, João Valverde in 3rd. And it's not that far back. You can see right at the back of the screen. That's your leader, or that's, well, what will be your leader, Diego Francisco, coming up behind his countrymate. Just under 15 minutes of racing to go. Top 3 drivers have yet to pit. Blixt and Dove yet to pit. Let's check back in on car number 89, Eric Blixt. We were looking at that battle. Sarah still yet to get around him. She's just back there, stalking her prey. We can report that the guy that was racing with these guys, Alistair Hay, Ali, has made his stop. He's good to go.
Num and Janssen both down the lane.
Our leader is in. Janssen and Num both coming in. Francisco is already by pit exit. Num is going to be out in front of Janssen. A little bit of experience. Janssen is still, boy, he's having an issue.
8.5.
Finally comes out. Yeah. Go ahead. Say it again.
8.5 seconds. So that's a 4-second longer stop than Aero Num. That's not ideal.
So Francisco is out in front. And now we have to turn our attention away from the race to the big picture. Yes, Francisco's doing well, and he sits 3rd in the points. But it's really Num's initial concern is, can I beat this German who's been faster than me all season? Well, he is. Num is in 2nd. His biggest rival in the points, Claudius Veed, sitting in 4th. So while he'll pick up a little ground away from Veed, he'll lose ground to Francisco. We've got ourselves a point race, boys and girls. Hey, let's go to 6th position, car number 38. I see that Sarah Dove is now in front of Eric Blixt. Let's see if that's because of pit stops. Sure enough, Sarah Dove's last stop, 4.3 seconds. Blixt, 5.1. Sarah sitting in 6th. She's got a ways to go to get to Valverde, but if there's some trouble in front of her, she'll pick up a top 5. Let's round out the back half of your top 10. Remember Ali Hay? Remember we talked about him? He was in that battle with Blixt, and then he pulled away from those guys? Well, Joseph, your partner didn't do so well there, as after the pit stops, he's fallen back behind those two. He races in 8th.
Yeah, he must have made a mistake somewhere that we didn't quite catch, because he's now 5.8 behind Eric Blix and Saradov, and he was pretty much with them. Well, yeah, he was in the middle of that fight, so he's made a mistake somewhere because the pit stop times weren't too dissimilar. So unfortunate for Alistair.
Looks like he had an off track. Our director is seeing it in his stats, and oh my, I think it gets from bad to worse as Ali Hay is coming into the pits.
Yeah, he's just come back in, so some sort of big issue there for Alistair.
Well, that's going to be good news for car number 23, Pierce Cockey. My dad used to call it the early peel, late reveal, and honestly, I fell victim to it right now. Remember, Pierce Cakeman made that very, very early pit stop and really got off our radar? Well, what happens? What's revealed later after the early peel? He's up into 8th. Hopefully, Sharkville has put in enough fuel. He should be good to go from here. Rounding out your top 10, Josh Brain, up 9th position. And then, Liam Quinn. There's your top 10. Scrolling back through the rest of the field, I just don't see anywhere a battle for position anywhere on track inside the top 20. And Francisco continues to open it up as he is now up to 8 seconds on Num. Num is well ahead of Janssen. And there is we look at Diego Francisco now as he heads down into the bus stop. Now, let's stay on this a minute. He'll be coming up on Ian Robson. These guys, here's a battle for position. How about 24th? This is Bastian Hausman in 24th. And Ian Robson in 25th. Why do we care about this one? Well, they're the last cars on the lead lap. And luckily I got that out quickly because that's not going to be the case here by the time they get to Lacombe. Well, at least for one of them. Here comes Diego Francisco. 9.2 seconds, Joseph. He really doesn't need to force the issue here as he tries to go around the lapped car.
No, he just needs to sort of just chill. Well, not chill, but keep it clean from this point onwards. Just no point in taking any major risks. You're not going to lose 9.4 seconds if you drive normally. Unless you make a mistake.
Gets around Robson. Oh, Bastian Hausman, remember, just in front of these guys. My goodness, just happened in front of Diego Francisco. You talked about taking it easy. It just happened, director, if you're able to get it. Now, this is what you have to deal with if you're the leader. Everything's going your way. You're coming up on a battle for 25th position. There's Bastian Hausman, a veteran driver. And all of a sudden, he decides to bang it into the wall. Luckily, the car didn't bounce back out onto the track, and the leader goes by. You are never home free in an ABL event. So, trouble for Hausman. That puts 23 cars on the lead lap. The last one being, well, car number 26, Adam Young. Not sure if Adam's going to be able to bring this one home on the lead lap, but he's probably a little tired anyway. Not having to drive that extra 7 kilometers. He probably won't mind. Num comfortably in second. Uh-oh. Veed is up to third. What has happened to Janssen? Oh, it was before the Bastian Hausman incident. He looped it around in the bus stop. Janssen is now back to 7. We're gonna look at it here. It might even be more than this. Let's see one incident, because now Janssen is back in 7th. Let's see what our director has found. Now this is the bus stop. This is one. Oh no, maybe he's found the one that really matters here. Let's see. No, we're on V. We want to go to Janssen. There we go. We're on the, yeah, and of course, we missed that one. Janssen in car number 96. Didn't get that guy. But what has happened somehow, and I'll see if I can just find it myself. He had the spin in the bus stop. Was there another issue that cost him more spots? This was big news because he was really in contention to win this thing. Boy, it was a while ago. So the Swedish driver, that's part of being a rookie. You got to get your... It bites them both, Joseph. It got both Janssen and Veed. Both of them suffer from mistakes.
Yeah, both of them have suffered here from mistakes today, and it's going to cost them. Could have done a lot better today, potentially, you know, or win for Veed. Or...
We're gonna look one more time. Maybe we found something. Honestly, I couldn't find it other than the loop in the bus stop. Let's see what our director has found here.
He's definitely made another pit stop, so he's made a mistake somewhere, and that's obviously cost him to have that extra pit stop.
Yeah. Once again, we're on Veed, so we're having some issues there. I can't find that one right now. Well, let's go to Alex Janssen in 7th position live as he works on the back of a lap car of Collier Cooper. We're under 5 minutes of racing to go. Bad news for the Swede driver. He was running up inside the podium. He's going to fall back to 7th. This is more bad news in terms of Errol Num, because that was a little bit of a cushion between Num and his biggest rival, Claudius Veed. Veed now is going to, if things go as they are, will only fall 1 spot behind. Diogo Francisco, our leader. Num in 2nd. Veed in 3rd. You want to hear good news? You want to hear who is really, really happy about the problems of Alex Janssen? Let's go to car number 38. The familiar magenta machine of Saradov. Can you say top 5? Racing qualified in 12th, up 7 spots. I don't know if birds can smile, but that's one happy feathered animal. Valverde now in 4th. Sara comfortably ahead of Blix in 6th. As they come at you now, Sara might not be out of the woods yet, because if we can stay with Dougie Beard, we'll stay on this for a while. Coming around that corner there, that's Janssen. Janssen is hunting, and he is determined to get there. He has had to make 3 stops. How far to get to Blixt? 3.4 seconds with 3 minutes to go. Ooh, that seems like a tall order. Sara Dove. Got about another 5 seconds to get to her. I think the top 5 is pretty set unless there's an issue. Let's go back to 16th position. We have a little time to give these guys some love. This is Luca Furlick in a battle with Christian Mies coming out of La Source. They are side by side. Oh, and they touch! A little bit of trading paint, if that's possible, in these Formula Renaults. Mead gets by. Furlick down into 17th. Woo-hoo-hoo. Furlick going the wrong direction. So, Christian up into the Sweet 16 position. Mies back into 17th. Looks like that is done. But it won't be long for Luca, because here comes Martin Kapal. Kapal in that citrus-flavored machine. I think he's going to gobble him up. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I see Furlick has disappeared. Is he in the ether? Has he gone to go visit the Amelia Earhart Bar and Grill? Well, you saw it happen. 1.5 minutes of racing to go here at Spa. Round number 3 of the Absolute Beginners Formula Neagle. Only the 3rd race in this Formula Renault. And right now, this race is Diogo Francisco's to lose. He's comfortably out in front by 11 seconds. Errol Num, nobody around him. Gonna come home in second. They head down. Francisco should be picking up the white flag now. He's got to negotiate the bus stop this time and then one more time. We talked about it in the countdown to green, racing under the radar. That is no longer the case for Diogo Francisco. He already has a win. He can put another notch in his belt. This will be the first one in these faster Formula Renaults. To the bus stop for our leader. Just ahead of him, the driver in 19th, Elmer Notenboom. Last car on the lead lap. White flag for Francisco. He's comfortable enough. He does not even need to deal with Notenboom unless he wants to. Sometimes, Joseph, sometimes it's better to actually get the guy behind you so you don't have to worry about anything happening strange in front of you.
Yeah, the guy in front might just make a little mistake and spin, and you can't really do anything sometimes, and just can't get out of the way of his mistake. And that's really what Diogo Francisco does not want on this lap. He gets nice and cleanly out the way. Nice job there from Elmar.
Let's go to car number 38, Sarah Dove. She's kind of in a similar situation here. She's got 2 seconds back, but she's got Ian Robson here. She does not want to give away this top 5. Let's see what she negotiates here as she heads into Eau Rouge. Will she get around Robson, or will she stay behind? This is an opportunity. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it here. Little Bird says, I'm coming. I'm going to go to the inside. Robson starts to drift over. And will she finish the pass? She does. She's safely around the back marker. Unless she gets punted, there should be nothing keeping her from a top 5 finish. Francisco gets Notenboom behind him as he works through corner 13. Just a handful of corners left for the Portuguese star. It's all throttled down from here if he wants to. With a 12-second lead, he can take it nice and easy. He qualified on the pole. He lost the lead a little bit. He got it back. His competition ran into trouble. And he comes home with a comfortable 13-second lead. Just the right-left combo of the bus stop. Round number 3 of Season 14's Formula Neagle at Spa goes to the Portuguese driver, Diogo Francisco. The Roland Estonian is going to comfortably get 2nd position. There is no real battle on the track to go to, so we can see him as they come across. Claudius Veed was able to close on Num, but not enough. Nevertheless, he'll get 3rd place points. Keep the points race close. Negotiating the bus stop now, Yal Valverde will get 4th. Oh, it's a happy day for the fans of GSRC as one of their favorite drivers, Sarah Dove, comes home in 5th. The back half of your top 10. Eric Blix, Dove was able to get rid of her. Alex Johnson, after a 3rd pit stop, is going to have to settle for 7th after running up front. Mr. Excitement, Liam Quinn, finds a car parked in the bus stop in front of him. Just to make it fun, that is Ian Robson. Remember, we talked about Ian causing trouble? Well, they managed to negotiate. Quinn comes home safely in 8th. A quiet run from Josh Brain, who gets 9th position. Our timing scoring might be a little bit off. Rounding out your top 10, it was Tom Van Hoyman. The rest of the drivers, there is no real battle out on the track to speak of, so what we can do right now is take this opportunity. The racing is over, but our broadcast is far from done. We're going to go to break, but we'll be back to run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers, and then put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. Sponsored by the Absolute Beginner League, you're watching the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of Formula Neagle Round 3 from Spa. The results are in. Let's give those to you right now. It was Diogo Francisco who starts on the pole position and comes home first to the checkered flag. He gets his first win of the season, and he'll close the gap in the point standings to the Roland Estonian Errol Num, who took second. Claudius Veed was out in front for a while. It was not the pit stop that bit him this time. It was a mistake on the track, but nevertheless, he was able to salvage third place. Yal Valverde has a very quiet run from 10th to 4th. We documented it in the race. You saw it. Sarah Dove, 12th to 5th. Congratulations to her for her first top 5 here in the ABL. We saw her battle with Eric Blixt. He has to settle for 6th. Alex Johnson was up front running with the big boys, but again, a mistake that cost him a third pit stop, and he is delegated to 7th, just ahead of Liam Quinn. Mr. Excitement comes home in 8th. Talk about a quiet run from Quinn, also one from Josh Brain, 19th to 9th. And Tom Van Hoyman gets the final spot in the top 10 as he moves up from 14th. Joseph?
Yep, Yus Young started P23, finished P11. 3 drivers who lost quite a few places today: Pierre Scocchi, David Burns and Alistair Hay. P12, 13 and 14 today. Marcus Gedul is P15. Christian Mies 16th. Martin Capel is P17. Neil Bamber, P18. He's the last of the runners to finish on the lead lap. And Elmar Notebloom and Franz Josef Stum are 19th and 20th.
Yeah, Pierce Cockey had that 4th place qualifying. He comes home in 12th. David Third Degree Burns qualified 5th, comes home in 13th. Joseph talked about it. Some bad results from those guys. Going to the blackjack position, Josh Morgan. He's 1 lap down ahead of Adam Young, who finishes in the double duck spot. Ben Summers behind him. Lance Simmons. In the quarter century mark, it's Wojciech Podosek. Then we go down to the 26th position, Ian Robson, Luca Furlick, who had connection issues. I think he was hit the incident cap. Bastian Hausman in 28th, Cooper Collier in 29th, rounding out the top 30, Hendrik Camara. Joseph?
Yep. Adam Bradshaw is P31. These guys have all retired. So we have Tuan Tran, Johan van der Belt, Zachary Zool, Matt Carbello, Alejandro Liejo, Daniel Solo and Kevin Mills. All of those drivers did not finish the race.
Okay, we get the opportunity to talk to the winner of the race, Diogo Francisco. He has won earlier, a career win in the Skippy, but now he has one in the Formula Renault. Diogo, you sat on the pole, and yes, you won by 13 seconds, but it really was a lot closer than the stats would show.
Yeah, it was. It really was. It's a shame that that Claudius had that spin, because it would have been a close one for sure.
What is the strategy now? I'll be honest with you. I forgot that it was a 2-stop race until my commentator said, "Oh no, there's 2 stops here today." What do you like to do stop-wise as far as when to come in? You split it up into equal segments, or do you wait for traffic? What do you do?
Well, today it was very straightforward because I was able to pit from the lead, so it was very simple. But usually I just if I encounter traffic, or if I feel I'm getting slowed down, I just try to pit as early as I can.
Do you have experience in this car as much as the Skippy, or are you learning it like a lot of them are?
I'm learning. I never raced this car before. I'm just learning this season. Yeah, I'm usually a Skippy lover.
Can you manhandle it as much as the Skippy? You can't really get these ones quite as sideways as you could with those, could you?
No, but you really need to learn how to trust the downforce. It's such a different car from the Skippy, and even the setups. It's you can do so much with it. It's very different, very different.
Are you familiar with setups? Do you know how to do that, or do you end up just making it worse?
No, I've been using some setups that have been shared between everyone, and yeah, I tweak a little bit just for my liking in some things, but I'm learning also a little bit about that.
Well, you know, we've been watching your progress. When you started a while back in the Skip, you say, "Hey, who is this guy?" Well, you're not unknown now. You got the win. You get a little bit closer in the points to Arrow Num. It's going to be a great points race with only 5 races to go. Good luck.
Thanks, Soup. Those are very kind words. Thank you very much.
Diogo Francisco, he's fun to watch. And let me correct myself. It's only a 7-race season, so there's 3 down. To next race marks the halfway mark, dead center, 3 before, 3 after. The seasons go by fast here in the ABL. Joseph, who do you got?
Yep, Aero Nom is here in the box with us for an interview. Aero, P2, started P2 of course, but maybe a couple of mistakes cost you the victory.
Not so many mistakes, just I don't have any feel for the car, and just practicing before the race, it's not enough, and I can't find any motivation to practice it in other times. So yeah, I was down on speed on the straights, so maybe that was the problem. I don't know.
Yeah, of course. P2 still a good result though. Managed to capitalise on other people's mistakes, I should have said. Obviously, next round. What track is the next round at? Soup? Round 4.
Well, Arrow, before we go there, with your talent, don't you think that maybe you can dial some of the downforce out so that you have to do a little more? I mean, for me, with a driver with no talent, I put all the downforce on I want. Maybe you think maybe less downforce and it puts it back into your hands more?
Yeah, I was taking it on for South in the last 20 minutes in the practice, so I just didn't have any time to make more changes. So maybe downforce is the key. I don't know.
I got it. You know, where we're going next is Brands Hatch, boy. That's a tight and narrow course, but you have a lot of familiarity there. How do you think the Formula Renault is going to play for you there?
Yeah, no idea. Just I see how it goes. At least it's a more difficult track, so maybe more chances for me.
Right. Well, here's the good news. While Francisco gets a little closer to you in the points, he was sitting in third. At least you finished ahead of that German guy who seems to be really good.
Yeah, just really pity that the last race I spun the second to last lap. So yeah, I have to keep lean.
Well, good job. It's fun to watch. You got your work cut out for you, but we'll see if you can get another championship. Good luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, there's Arrow Num. Joseph, since I butted in on you on that one, why don't we let you talk to this girl? Because she's going to be a happy girl. Joseph Ringrose, go ahead, talk to Sarah Duff.
Sarah, you made some quite large gains today. You started down in P12 and managed to finish P5. Pretty happy with today?
Yeah, almost ideal. I mean, my setup at the start was a bit unstable, so I spun a few times, which I think if I hadn't, I'd have been able to fight for fourth, but fifth is still pretty good.
Yeah, you were battling with Eric and Alistair, and then Alistair fell off. Did you enjoy the battling with those guys today?
Yeah, it's a good track to battle at because there's a lot of there's long straights, so you don't lose too much time.
Sorry,
which is helpful.
Sorry, it's Soup here. You talked about your setup not being good at the beginning. Are there changes you can make in the car during the race to fix that, or do you wait for the pit stop, or do you just kind of, all right, I know what I got, I'll figure it out?
You can't make any changes. You can change the brake bias, but that's it.
So you just didn't like your setup, so you realized, boy, I'm not feeling good. I got to change the way I drive a little bit, because you seem to be stronger at the end.
Yeah, I think I got more used to it, like how the setup was in the temperature. I'm not the best at like warmer tracks, so I had to sort of change the way that I was putting inputs in.
I've seen you race a lot. You were coming up on the one back marker at the very end, and I can just feel it. I could just almost read your mind saying, I got a top 5. Let's not give it away going around this lapped car. Was it just me putting that, thinking that in my own head, or were you actually kind of saying, oh man, let's be careful here?
I was, yeah. Thankfully, I got past pretty easily.
Yeah.
But I was just hoping that please don't spin in front of me or something like that.
Well, it was great. Congratulations on the top 5. Good luck the rest of the way. You seem to do well here in this car, so way to go.
Thank you.
Sarah Dove, a top 5 finish. Nice job from her. We have. Is that it? There, we have one more. We're going to talk to Tom Van Hoyman. Go ahead.
Yep, Tom, P10, started P14. Good result for you.
Yeah, it was a good result, but I think I could have been P7 out of my head because I got tangled up with Luca Furlich, spun at the bus stop chicane, and I just got 2 laps left on fuel, and then I wanted to continue, but he didn't, so he steered to the right and I steered to the left, so we tangled up with each other. My car was pretty okay after the pit stop. Before it was really, I lost all my my top speed, but after the pit stop it was quite okay. I decided to do an undercut on Liam and Josh out of my head. Out on Joost, but not on Josh, because I spun again at the bus stop chicane. So yeah, that's my weak point really at this track. Everything was fine apart from the bus stop chicane. So I spun like 3, 4, 5 times, I think. So yeah, I could have been a lot higher. That's the reason why I'm 1 minute behind of the leader.
Yep.
3, 4, or 5 spins and it's still a top 10. That's a good day.
It's a good day because I never had a top 10 year and got some points in the bag as well. So I'm happy with that. I never practice for the Absolute Beginners League, so I'm always coming in the session with 10 minutes left in the qualifying and getting my laps in, and yeah, that's it.
Well, you know, it would be nice if the ABL and the AOR could get their schedules together, so maybe put the same tracks on the same time, so you wouldn't have to work so hard.
Next week, it's over 2 weeks. It's Brands Hatch, and that's my favorite track all time. So I'm definitely going for top 5 there.
All right, good luck to you. Congratulations on the top 10 today and moving up in the points. Tom Van Hoyman, a top 10 finisher. Well, that's going to do it here for us on the Global Sim Racing Channel, but don't go away yet because we have to stick around while we thank the people that make this possible. And of course, we have to start with everybody at the Absolute Beginner League. We'd like to thank them for organizing this series and contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. We'd also like to thank the company's equipment and software that you see on the screen right now that we use on the broadcast, and the original music that gives every GSRC broadcast that unique flavor and feel. Well, that's thanks to Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde. See the screen for how to contact each of them.
Formula Neagle returns in 2 weeks, July 9th, for round 4 at Brands Hatch. GSRC will be there, and we hope that you join us. Slide across your screen now are some upcoming broadcasts, so be sure to check them out and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it all at www.globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. And while you're here, if you have not done it yet, subscribe by simply hitting the big red button on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, GSRC hits a milestone as we have 6,500 subscribers. Director, what is that called? There's a special name for subscribers. We have this little, you know what I'm talking about? The little internet name for that? Users or whatever. We're not, I don't know. Subs. That way is subs. Yeah, that's it. 6,500 subs. That's what they're telling me. Ooh, that makes me kind of hungry, actually. So congratulations to us for that. And if you're not part of the 6,500, what's wrong with you? Come on, we got a lot to offer. Go ahead and sign up. With that said, let's go ahead and thank the guy whose voice you just heard. That is Joseph Posey Pockets Ringrose, our director Sean Crackers Ambrose, and our camera artist Dougie Beard. We'd like to thank you all for watching. Now it's time for us to have fun storm the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.